Good morning, sweet friends. This is Gina. Welcome to the Rebookery channel. I thought I would check in with you guys and see how you're doing on your junk planner. I have been doodling in mine and, playing with it on and off for the last week or two. And so I'm kind of to the point now where it's set up and all I need to do now is just have it available whenever I feel like getting some creative stuff going. And I don't want to, do a big journaling session or a scrapbooking session. I just need to, maybe doodle or whatever. So many of you guys have asked me about the types of books that you would get. And I'll be honest, guys, I'm not an expert in this. I only know what I know from just playing around and experimenting with different books. There are some books I worked with that I really loved and some books I worked with that totally fell apart. So, and I don't mean fell apart as in the book fell apart. I mean fell apart as in the whole idea fell apart. So let me show you a couple of different books and I'll show you what happened and how I worked through that process and what I discovered from some of my mistakes. Here are some of my altered books that I've done in the past. And so I'll show you ones that I liked and ones that I maybe didn't necessarily like. And I hope this is in frame. I zoomed in so you guys would see my journal a little more up close, so hopefully this will work. Okay, so this one, I loved this one. This was a popular mechanics book, 1950s or something, and I had to add fabric to the spine because of course the spine split. I feel like on this one I didn't remove enough pages, so that's why it's kind of bowing out a little bit. This was one of my earlier attempts, and so I realized I think at this time I was removing maybe a fourth of the pages, and then I got to the point where it was just like, okay, I need to just remove about half of the pages, a third or half, because so much of what I put in is so bulky. But this one I loved. It worked out really well. I had to do a lot of reinforcing on the spine and in the gutters, with tape and stuff, but I love this one. This was just some paper right here. This was a wonderful journal scrapbook, and I put a lot in this. I put inserts in, so like this is an insert. Let me make sure this is in frame. Yep. So this was an insert. Added a lot of photos, a lot of dimensional, oops, kind of stuck together. Some dimensional things, flaps and fold outs and papers and wrappers and paint. So yeah, love this one. And it worked really well. I liked the size of it. Here's, so this is the middle of a signature, and I can tell it's the middle of the signature because I can see the threads that are sewn in to hold this signature in place. So this really got me in tune with, here's fabric, how to recognize, books that were stitched and then books that were glued and books that were stapled. Here's some more thread. So this book was a great experiment, and I'm happy with this one. This one turned out really well. This one, not so much. So this was about the time that I was doing that one. I was just experimenting with different books. So of course, spine split and I had to put fabric on it, but even that didn't help contain this. So this book was an altered book, and I don't think I removed any of the pages. This was one of my very first ones, and I did not remove the pages. I just didn't realize you were supposed to remove the pages. So yeah, I glued pages together, but didn't remove them until it was too late. And then, it kind of became, I went back and I took some pages out, but it kind of became lopsided and stuff. I did a lot of painting in this one. So I love the journal spreads I did this and I loved the time period that this was. This was, let's look and see if I've got a date on here. 2014. So this was back in 2014. This was 2013. And I loved this journal. This was a lot of fun, but it just became, when I got to the end, it became so bulky that I couldn't really work in it as much as I wanted to. And so then, you know, I kind of abandoned it. Like, this is a beautiful page that I have added layers and layers and layers of stuff to, but I just never finished it. Oh, I did some crackle paint there. That was actually kind of cool. So I could go back and I could add some more stuff to this if I wanted to, but I kind of just abandoned it because, yeah, it got to the point where it was just so big and bulky, and it had served its purpose, and I still love it, and I still love looking at it, and I have some really good memories and stuff in this book. So this one was kind of a thumbs down, just because I didn't know to pull pages out, and you can see how it pulls away from the spine here, which is what you want when you find your altered book. But mine just did it a little too much because I put too much stress on the spine. It's 2013. This was actually a journal, and again, it was like a store-bought journal. It wasn't a name brand or anything, but this is when I was first getting going into this. So this is 2013. I did not remove any pages, so you can see again it's totally bowing out, and you know, I had to abandon it because I couldn't fit anything else in here. So this was how I started to figure out, just by playing around and doing, you know, a couple of different journals. This is how I figured out that you need to remove pages and the importance of removing pages. So great experiment for me, and you know, you can see this is really paint heavy. This was back when I was really trying out paints and things like that, because I had never really done paints, and it was so totally new to me, and so this is one of my favorites. It was so totally new to me, and I was just having so much fun playing with paint and seeing what it would do with different papers and things like that. So love this, but again, I did not remove pages, and so this became too cumbersome. Then I got smart and I figured out you needed to remove pages. This book is one of my favorites, and I know I say everything is my favorite. The same thing at school when I'm teaching. I'll tell the kids, now this is my favorite, and they'll be like, yeah, but you said that yesterday. I know. Everything is my favorite. What can I say? Okay, so this book was a sad book. It was old, and the pages were really brittle and really thin. And so I really was drawn to that because I thought, okay, what are you going to do with this book? I couldn't use the pages, like to take the pages out and put them in a journal, because they were too brittle and too thin. And the book was just in really bad shape. So I just started experimenting with this one. And sometimes that's the best place to start. Find a book that you really have no feelings for at all. Like, you just do not care about this book at all. And then just experiment with it, because that's how you're going to find out what works. And so I just started playing around with this book, and I worked with this book for a long time before I ever really started to love it. I tried so many times to love this book, and I just couldn't do it. The pages were so thin, and it was such a pain in the butt because I couldn't just glue 2 pages together. I had to glue like 3 and 4 pages together because they were so thin. And because the book was old, it was really pulling on the spine. So I abandoned this book several times. It sat half done, you know, many times. I had like the pages removed, and then I didn't like it, and so it sat. And then I had the pages glued together, and I didn't like it, so it sat. And then I finally got to the point where I was like, okay, now it is just going to be, I'm going to finish this book just because. To spite everything else, I'm going to finish this. So then I went through, once the pages were all glued, and I just put white paint on the pages. and I put washi tape and paper and stuff down the edges. And about that time, that's when I really started to like this book. And it started off as just a journal where I was just writing things down. And then what happened is it just kind of evolved as I added more and more stuff to it. It kind of evolved into some really paint heavy layouts. And it's, like I said, it's turned into one of my favorite journals. And I don't journal in it all the time. Sometimes I journal in it. Like, this is a spread that I just did. Oh gosh, let me see. I did this spread. It was this summer. So 2018, but then there's some spreads in here that I did. This one's 2015. This was 2016, because I know, like, I can look at these, and what you may see is paint and pictures and stuff like that, but each one of these pages, I look at them and I immediately know what was going through my head. And so this was, believe it or not, this is a political page, and I'm not a political person, but this was a political page. This was, I was feeling really sad. I was missing my grandpa, and so this was a really kind of a sad page, kind of a memory page. This was a page that I've worked on several times, and I just keep going back and adding stuff, and it's me being sarcastic about my son because he's so cool. And so this is kind of, I'm not angry, but it's just kind of a, this is we just laugh at how cool our son is. And I just, like, anytime he aggravates me because he's so cool, I always come and maybe add something onto this page. This is a page that I just never really finished, but I just keep adding stuff to it. This was a memory page. This was a total scrapbooking page. It was a day where my husband and I had gone and done something new in the city, and so this was a total scrapbook page. Like, that's all there is to this, is it's a scrapbook. One that I haven't finished. One that I started and stopped and started and stopped, and then just picked it up this spring and added some more stuff to it. There's probably 10 layers of stuff on this page. This was a page, self-reflection. This was just one where I found these pictures of my middle son, and I don't know why, but I just needed to get those pictures down. And I didn't scrapbook. There's nothing related to the pictures in here other than I just put in a whole bunch of things that supported these pictures of my son. And while you may look at it and just see book pages and pictures of my son, I look at it and I see a whole story. Like, I just see, there's a turtle, there's his grandpa, there's kids playing in a playground, there's the ABCs, there's you know, book pages that talks about a boy doing things. I mean, it's just like, even the letters that I used have meaning to him because he was so into animals back then. And so I have cheetah and tiger print and stuff like that on the letters. And anyway, so I know I've totally gotten off track here, but so this book has become very meaningful to me. And you can see these are some spreads that I haven't done anything to. And what I do is I like to, if I'm feeling like I want to paint, then I'll just take the journal, and one day I'll just get out some paints and I'll just paint all the backgrounds. And then I let it sit. If I'm feeling like I want to collage, one day I'll just get out a bunch of papers and I'll just collage. And so I work on these in stages. You know, one day I glued them, one day I painted them, one day I collaged on them, and then one day I went and added photos to them, or I added writing to them. So it's just an ongoing process. Woo, that's got a lot going on. I think I just did this one. That one's got a lot going on. This is something about, this was 2007. Like, I didn't do this in 2007, but this is a memory from 2007. It was our house that we lived in. So yeah, crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. And the process I use is just kind of hard to explain and to video, because I don't sit down and do them, you know, all at one time. So anyway, this book I love. and I think I loved it because I didn't care about it, and I was able to work out a lot of things in this book and figure out how to make it work for me. And I'm not done with this book. I'm still going to add some stuff to it. This is kind of what I call my pretty journal. So whenever I feel like doing something pretty, I just always do it in this journal. We're here to this one that I'm working on. This is my junk planner that you guys have helped me come up with the name, Junk Planner. So this book I made a long time ago. I think I told you guys it was in my shop a couple of times, and I just couldn't, another one of those, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with it. Finally decided I needed a planner. It's a little skinnier in the spine than I would like. I actually like them a little bit thicker, so it gives me lots of room, but you know what? This will just make me be really selective about what I put in here. And so let me show you what I have done so far in this. And I'll show you where, let me make sure it's in frame. I'll show you where I have all my pages and stuff set up. So I have all of my months set up. I think I showed you guys this. I'm gonna take it all the way to April, yeah, May. So I can go to May of 2019. I went ahead and put all my dates on. This is just very rough. It doesn't have to stay this way. If I get into April and I decide I don't like this, I could totally change this. But for now, they've got their places in there. I left some blank spaces in between just because I had some extra pages. So those will be pages that I just, when I'm sitting down watching TV, I can just journal on. So I've kind of done a few of those already. This is one of those. I did a process video earlier this week on this one, and it was just a collection of stuff that I had sitting around, because that's kind of what this journal is. It's just kind of a dump. Like, I dump things in here that don't necessarily need an entire journal spread to themselves, but yet collectively I just kind of throw them all together. So this was just some stuff that had accumulated on my desk, and then thoughts that I had in my head and my struggles of planning and getting, you know, back in the swing of going back to work, because I have to go back in the next week or two. So sometimes I just need to get those thoughts out, and this journal is a great place to do that. Your planner junk journal, for me, this is where it's a great place to get that out. This was my July, and if you remember, I actually didn't even start this until right around here. But even though I started in the middle of the month, I have found lots of things that I could include. Now, I'm still not done. I have this last week to do, and I've got spaces down here, appointments and things that I know is coming up. But what I'll do is I'll just sit down and take my pens, and I just start doodling and writing things in. Maybe it's just little things that you know, maybe something my husband said, or something that my son did, or a text that my daughter sent me, and I'll just write that down. And it is just a small little part in this larger journal spread. Business cards and envelopes and things like that, I'll just keep in here. Price tags, I always like that. Packaging, I always add those things. So then this was just me sitting here. I'm having some trouble getting my motivation going these last couple of weeks of summer, and so I've just been doing a lot of sitting with pens and just drawing and adding words and stickers and phrases. And so this just happened to be one of those times. And for me, I would consider this is done. I could go back and add stuff to it, but I get to a point where I'm like, you know, I don't really need to add anything else to this. This is kind of done. It's filled. It's got everything on here that I needed to get out of my head. And so I'll move on. I consider this one done. I consider this one done. Here's my month of August. And you saw me do this one. This was a redo where I started it, didn't like it, went back and fixed it. So I've already started putting in appointments and things I want to remember. And I'll just start, once I'm done with July this week, then I'll just start working on this one. And I've got some spaces and stuff, and you can see where I've already started doodling, just taking pens and drawing lines and going over my wording and things like that. Then this was a spread that didn't even realize this was going to happen. I sat down and I had a highlighter and I started looking at the text over here, and some of the words were just popping out at me. So I went and I highlighted some of those words. From there, I took paint and ended up turning this into a spread that I worked on this morning. Am I done with this one? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I am. I think there's some more things I can add to this. I don't feel personally like I'm done with this. One little cute thing over here, this is an envelope. I got some eyeglasses, and so this card was in this envelope and they came with my eyeglasses. So this envelope I turned into a pocket, and then I turned it into a house. So just totally mindless. I wasn't thinking about any of this. I just had some pens and some markers, and I was just playing around and had a lot of fun. And it's just a way to get your creativity going and get some ideas and some experiments down on paper. I may be done with this one, I may not. So then here's my September, and you can see it's already starting to fill in appointments and birthdays and things like that. And I can add more stuff to this. I can change it if I don't like it. One of the things I might do, because my September is already starting to fill up, is I may take like some sticky notes, and you saw that in one of my planner videos. I did an entire month that was all sticky notes. So I may start to do this. If I need some more room, I may put some sticky notes on. So a couple of things you can do. You can cut your sticky notes down to fit. Let's say I wanted to put it here on the 14th. So if I wanted it to fit, I didn't want it to hang over, I could just cut it down like that. I personally like things stuck down so that I know they won't come back up. So I would add a little glue. And then, now these are just, you know, plain old sticky notes, but what if you wanted a little something else on here? You can take your sticky notes, and they don't have to stay plain. So this is just some little stamps I have, little bakery stamps. So maybe I just go through and I take some of these sticky notes and I add these little stamps to them, and then I sprinkle them around my page. I mean, that's totally cute, and it just adds a little extra interest. And we'll put this one here. And I'm just, you know, putting these on. I don't know, I'm not putting them on any special day. I'm just playing around. So yeah, you can totally make your sticky notes cute by adding, let's see, I think I will do this one right here, by adding stamps and stickers to them. And these just happen to be bakery stamps, but you could add, you know, something that has some more meaning. So now that I covered that up, I need to make sure I write my appointment back over the top here. There we go. So there you go. That's a little trick you can do, is you can add sticky notes if you need some more room. So here's just a blank page. Here's my October. I haven't really added much to this one. Another blank. November. I know this one will be full, so I might use sticky notes on this. December. So in December, I have this big illustration that's in the middle of it, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I'll wait until it gets closer to December. I may paint over it. I may leave it just like it is. I kind of like how this magnifying glass here right in the center makes the illustration look a little different between the two parts here. I kind of like that. So I may get rid of the rest of this and leave this here. I don't know. We'll see. Again, this would be something that I'm sitting down after work one day. I have my tub of markers and I'm just kind of playing around. Who knows what this will evolve into. This is an empty space. Another empty space. Here's my January. There's February. I went ahead and put washi on all the edges. There's March, April, May, and then here's the last page. I had some packaging from something I ordered off of Etsy, and the person had wrapped it in this wrapping paper, so I just took this wrapping paper and turned it into a pocket just by putting masking tape down the side and washi tape here. So this is just a little pocket in the back. This is a page that came out of a book that I was making a journal out of, and it didn't fit in the journal, so I just took the page and stuck it in here, and I'll use it sometime. So that's what I have, and I feel like really this is all set up. It's ready to go. Now I'm just going to let it evolve. I'm going to turn it into whatever it's going to become. I don't have a plan other than just want to keep my appointments on here and keep, you know, memory keeping and stuff like that. Because this is such a thin book, I will probably not be adding photos to it. I may add a few envelopes or pockets on the side just to tuck stuff in, but because this one is so thin and it's got such a narrow spine, I'm probably just going to keep this to paint and markers, colored pencils, crayons. Probably won't be adding a lot of paper and fold outs and things like that to it. So I don't know, we'll see. I say that, who knows, I may totally change, you never know. So anyway guys, there's where my junk planner is, and it was starting to split right here, so I just added a little bit of masking tape. So check out the video link down below in the description. Her name is Lorrie. I think it's LorrieMarie, and she does an amazing job of altering books, and she probably has so many better suggestions than I have for you guys. So be sure to check out her video and see what she does with her altered books. So let me know how you're doing in your planner, your junk planner. And then we'll touch base with each other about this. Oh, I don't know. Let's go a month or so and let's see what we can get done and just see how much you work in it. I'll be posting pictures of things I do and stuff on Instagram. And then let's check back in and see what we've done with our planners after a few weeks. Okay. All right, guys, have a great rest of the day. Look for a journal drop in Etsy. My last one this summer will be on August 5th at 9 a.m. And right now, as it stands, it looks like I have 3 journals, 3 homebodies. I've got 4 inside out journals, possibly 5, depends on how motivated I get in the next couple of days. So yeah, it looks like maybe 7 or 8 journals that I'll have that'll go on sale in my Etsy shop next Sunday. And I will do a flip through video later this week. this is my last week of summer, and I'm having a hard time being motivated. I just want to like sit on the couch and do nothing. So anyway, all right guys, I hope you're healthy. I hope you're happy. I hope you do something creative today. I will see you soon. Bye.